welcome back to part 3 of how to live happy and passionate through recovery. Today we're going to talk about intentions and desires and how you connect those to your goals in order to achieve that truly passionate and transformational life. Now first, we're going to change your relationship to goals by adding one step prior to your goal setting. Instead of just planning your to-do list or planning the goals based on these expected outcomes, we're going to do a little bit of internal search and questioning, really defining why you are choosing those goals. Maybe you can relate to this with establishing or setting goals. A lot of people have great goals or great intentions and a great plan, but it kind of fizzles out. They lose either the wind in their sails or it just becomes too strenuous. It's kind of stressing. And then they're kind of left with the aftermath of this, well, I blew it again, or I didn't follow through, and the sense of dejection. Well, one way to get past that is to find ways to fuel the movement forward, where instead of having it be such a challenge to achieve these goals or kind of a difficult time, but create this natural sense of movement, kind of pushing you forward towards those goals. So when we talk about implementing or introducing a sense of desire or kind of asking yourself why do I have these goals? Why do I have these to-do lists? Why is it basically that I do what I do? What is that driving force towards this? Most people are in autopilot and so accustomed to just reacting and going about their habits and their to-do lists that they have not asked the question why, or they become so disattached internally that they're not quite sure what they desire anymore. And in order to truly make this transformation, these questions have to be asked, and the moment and the time has to be taken to reconnect again. Now, often people find out it's difficult when they try to figure out what is it that they want. Some things are very apparent, especially in a stage of recovery where you're getting past or you're recovering from a TBI or a brain injury. There's some very clear goals and some very clear steps. You want to get better. You don't want to have these concussion symptoms, or you don't want to have the TBI symptoms, or you don't want to feel this way. You want your health to get better. There's some very general ones. Those are usually easy to kind of figure out. However, most of those little steps or those things, that action steps that actually truly make you happy or create that life transformation are things that may not be as obvious to you. And you actually need to ask yourself some questions. So we're going to go back to kind of the simple question of why, but we need to dig a little bit deeper. Why or what items do you want more of? What things in your life would you like to see change? You define the what and the why, and you get your driving motivation. But some people don't have a clear definition of what it is that they really want. Sometimes we get into a situation in life where we become so reactory because of bills or just kind of our habitual to-do list or just schedule that we almost go into autopilot and we stop asking our question, what is it that I desire? What do I really want? Why do I want to get better? What do I want to feel? How do I want to feel? Now, when you ask yourself the question, what do I want more of? Or what will make me happy? What do I desire? What emotions do I long for? What compels me to move forward? And you kind of begin to look outside of your schedule or possibly the habits to see, do my habits serve me? How I live my day, how I communicate with those around me, the things that I do, is this truly serving me in the future? Is this moving me forward or toward a happy life, or are you just kind of in autopilot? Take the time, think a little bit. Pause this video if you have to, and then come back to it, or the audio. Ask yourself, what is it that I do on a daily basis? Does this serve me? What would I like to do? Now, if you find that you think about those elements and maybe you're drawing a blank or you need a little bit more help in the direction, a trick is sometimes it's difficult for people to decide or identify exactly what it is they want. However, you can identify what it is that you don't want. And that is very easy. I don't want to be upset. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to be emotionally battling with this relationship. I don't want to feel this way. Or I do not like this certain situation. And then you can work backwards from that place. For instance, if it's a physical ailment or recovery process, I don't like being stuck in this physical state. And then you can create the polar opposite and say, well, what would I like to be instead of this? And what would be the replacement of that? Or per se, if it's a relationship, possibly a friction in a relationship. I don't like feeling this way when we're communicating. Or I don't like where our relationship has come down to. I don't like how I feel when I communicate with this individual, or I don't like not communicating with this person. I want to feel closer. And you can start there and work with what would be a replacement feeling or desire that you would rather have in its place. That can sometimes be such an easier angle to look and work backwards, because you can identify dissatisfaction. You can identify anger. You can identify if you're feeling depressed in an area and avenue of your life. Now, if you haven't already, pause the video or pause the audio. In order for this to truly make an impact and change your life, in order for you to be able to apply any of this that you're learning, I would urge you to take a pause. Maybe if you're driving and you can't pause right now, then at least go back to this at a later time. And even if it's just in one area, find the area that you are most dissatisfied in your life, or that relationship, or that area that is causing you the most distress, and apply this principle. And really quick, journal a couple lines and just ask yourself, what don't I want to feel anymore? What don't I like about this situation? And then write, what would you like to see in that place? And go with the first feelings that come. What makes you feel good? Don't judge yourself. Don't second guess yourself. Allow yourself to feel. Get in touch with yourself. Again, for some of you, this may be new. For many of you, this may be new because life gets busy. Schedules get busy. Most people are living in autopilot. The blessing sometimes and the benefit that can come from having a TBI or a concussion or a brain injury or something that shakes up your life enough to get you to this point is that it has slowed down. It can become a roadblock so that things kind of stop and you have no choice but to reassess things. But take the time. Again, even if it's just one element, don't overcomplicate it. Just pick one thing, implement it, and then as you move forward, you'll see how simple it is to actually implement this system into every aspect or area of your life and truly change and transform those situations that you do not like, that you dislike, that you are not happy in, and implement what you would rather feel in that area. So take the time, if you can, stop and at least write down one element that you're dissatisfied in and replace it with an emotion that you would rather feel in that situation. And then I'll walk you through the next steps on how to actually create a plan to achieve that in your life. Now, hopefully, you've taken the time to identify at least one element or one area in your life that you are truly dissatisfied with, that is bringing you either agitation, depressed, or you're angry about. And you've been able to figure out and identify, I do not like this situation. I do not like how this makes me feel. Identify, this makes me feel angry or sad or dejected or depressed or just upset. And then you've been able to identify, what would you rather feel in its place? I'd rather feel happy when I talk to this person. I'd rather feel longing or draw. I'd rather feel physically better. And now that you have that replacement desire that would serve you in the future, something you truly ultimately desire, the biggest way to create change is to add something into that situation. Instead of asking what is wrong, rather ask what could be added to create immediate impact and change. What could you add in that area that you are dissatisfied to bring you closer to what you desire? For instance, if it is a relationship, instead of trying to evaluate all the problems or all the issues that you have had or you currently have in that relationship and how they're treating you and kind of getting caught up in that snowball effect, go back to a place in that relationship where you desired or you are at a great place with that individual. In order for that individual to be in your life, there was a moment in time and an emotion and a desire that drew you to that individual. There was a positive attachment. If it is something else, there was a positive attachment or a feeling of desire that drew you toward wanting that longing. Go back to that place. Feel it. Identify it. Possibly, if it was with an individual, go back to that place and say, what did we used to do? What emotion did I used to feel? When did I used to feel that emotion with that person? And then write down one impact move that you could make to do with that individual that would immediately bring that response. For example, possibly with a significant other or a friend or a family member, you used to go on long drives and just talk. And that was a good place. That was a place where you both enjoyed each other. Set in your schedule intentions to take a drive with that individual. If for some reason they're not close by, call them and reminisce about when you used to. Go back to that place. Draw back those emotions. And then continue to make power moves like that in those areas that will bring you back to those desires that serve you the best. Now, as you begin to do these exercises with every area in your life that either you are dissatisfied with, that you find lays heavy on your heart, or an area that you'd like to see move to a different place, also begin to look at your daily routine. If there is conflict in how you are living your life with your desires, then adjust how you live your life. For instance, if mobility or taking time with people and love and connection and relationships is something that you are missing and you desire in your life, but your schedule is so busy or you are filling your time with things that do not line up, that are away from those values of people. Maybe your communication is communication that would push people away and that would bring the very opposite. Then change the way you're living your day. Make sure that your desires line up with how you are living your life. And if there's a conflict in the two, let your desires and your emotion for good be what fuels how you choose to live your life, what communication patterns you choose to use when you're talking to people, how you choose to see people, what you choose to do during your day. The only way to truly make a change is by making a change. You know, if you want the recipe for happiness, I always tell my children, if you want to make pancakes or you're intended on making pancakes, make sure that your recipe is that of how to make pancakes. If you've got steak or you've got vegetables or you've got okra or you've got all this other stuff and you just mix it all together and you're assuming you're going to come out and sit down at the table with a huge pile of pancakes, you're going to be upset when you eat that bite and you say, well, this isn't pancakes. Be honest with yourself. What is your recipe that you are using for the outcome of your life and which you want? Take some time to self-evaluate. when you do this, your goals might change. Your to-do list or your goals may not be lining up with what you truly desire. And when that happens, it makes it more difficult to move toward those goals. Now, if you have a goal like, I want to walk, dig deeper. Why do you want to walk? Well, I feel like I'm too much for my family to handle having to take care of me. You're fueling that goal with a negative emotion. So every time you say, oh, I gotta walk, what you're doing subconsciously is you're reintegrating that negative emotion. I'm just wearing on my family. They are having to take care of me. I'm such a burden. You have this record playing in the back of your head that is embedding negative emotion. If that negativity or that heavy spirit is going to weigh heavy on your heart, it's going to make it even harder to get up and go. But how about you just change the way you look at that element, change your perspective. I want to walk because I desire love and connection and doing things with my family that just bring me all this fulfillment and happiness. And I remember when we used to do this and how it made me feel. If you can feel the change in your physical body as I take you to that place in the story, you're going to feel that you are naturally being fueled by positive, by love, by connection, by all things good. It's going to literally pump through your blood, and you're not going to feel heavy, but you're going to feel energetic. You're going to feel light. You're going to be creating this entire just emotional ball of energy that will actually help fuel you towards your recovery. The perspective and why you're doing what you're doing, and then making sure that your goals line up with what you truly want and your desires, are the secret recipe to this wind in your sails that will perpetuate and move you forward every single day of your life. That even in this moment of recovery, nothing could actually physically change, but merely because your desires are lining up with your goals and your to-do lists, and your intentions are connected with yourself internally and those around you, and it's fueled by love and connection and this positive energy force. You'll feel happier. Even though your situation itself has not even changed, but merely the energy and the perspective around you has changed. Your perception, your feelings, how to tap into this natural ability to find motivation, transformation, and healing. You will heal faster when your body's at a peaceful place. You will feel good when you're connected with yourself internally, when you know what you want, when you've taken the time to reconnect with yourself and your desires and your happiness. Feel free to rewind this and listen back as I walked you through some of those initial steps in order to be able to really implement this in your life. The next section, in section 4, we will wrap it up and help you with the recipe of living happy and passionate through your recovery.